What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, bring you incredible guests from all over the world, so sit back, relax, and tune in. My next guest is a best-selling author, a TV host and producer, a master speaker coach, the founder and creator of Sex Up Your Brand, and also co-founder of 360 Startup Partners. Please welcome Sharon Zehavi. Sharon, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm excited. I've been watching all your things and I love the energy. Like you, I can see what people talk about your presence on stage, because you are just like, you're raising the energy of the room, which is a beautiful thing.
Well, I love it. If you have a lot of energy, you better give it to others, you know?
That's right. I totally agree. So where did this passion for being a speaker, being a coach, and being in branding and marketing start?
Well, that's like a lot of answers there. But getting started with speaking, probably, I mean, if you really want to go back, my dad was an actor, okay? And I started, just feel like I belong on stage since I was 5 years old. And I had the opportunity to be on stage. So that felt like that was like my natural living space.
Yeah.
And when I grew up and, I became more like an expert, like a business person. And I discovered that I was really good with branding and organic marketing and sales, which is sort of like an ability I had to recognize how to influence people's, thinking process and decision-making process, which I thought was a wonderful superpower.
Yeah.
And it got me into branding and all of those things. I decided to become a coach because I felt a lot of people thought they understand branding, and a lot of people thought they understand marketing, and it really happens a lot with small businesses in particular because they try to find a way to do it all by themselves. So I decided to become this like coach and consultant in this space so I can really support small businesses get the most out of their potential when it comes to branding and marketing and sales and blah, blah, blah. And then once I did that, I met a coach that told me I should do speaking. And I was like, cool. And he's like, you should be on stage. You have the energy for the stage. And it was like, of course I do. That's like where I was born.
Yeah.
So he's like, this is a great thing for you as a business owner. So I was like, okay, let's do it. And I just started like the day after he told me I should do it, I found the first stage to go on and start speaking.
Wow.
And discovered it was absolutely my favorite place to be. I was able to combine two of my passions in one place and reach out to so many people so I can get all my energy out, get people excited about doing something, giving them all the information that they need. And I also get to, not give up on my stage bug that I contracted from a very young age. And I guess that's how it all came together.
I love it. I think that's a beautiful thing, especially if you can do things that you're passionate about. I think that's what we all strive or aspire to do, is to do things that we're passionate about that brings us joy. So that's amazing. You clearly have found your place. And now you're helping others with finding their place as well within their branding and marketing with their businesses. I think marketing is so important. I mean, and I think that it's changed a lot over the last, 10 years. And so I love the name of Sex Up Your Brand. I think that is very cool. That's something that I would be drawn to. And I think that you have your unique clients because of the name, right?
Yes, correct. I mean, finding that name was very much a moment of owning my energy and my style, which I think was a very powerful moment for me because we all, especially as women, we all try to fit into what people expect us to be.
Oh, yeah.
And we are constantly confused because of that. Because we're like, I want to, I don't want to, what do I want? Is it me? Is it not me? Because we're getting all these like mixed messages about what we should be or should do, we lose a lot of our own energy and our own uniqueness. And when I chose Sex Up Your Brand, it was from a place of just freaking owning it.
Yes.
I'm just doing it, and whoever doesn't feel good about it doesn't have to be my client. Yeah. And that's totally fine. And since I created that name and that sort of like energy and persona, I've been attracting the best kind of people.
Oh, I bet.
Okay. Because as you can see, since you like it, a lot of strong women really like it because they like that feeling of freedom and owning it and just be who you want to be. So they come to me, which I love working with strong women, obviously.
Yeah.
But also men who are not threatened by strong women come to me and they think it's a cool name, it's an interesting, it's unique, and it's powerful. And all those weirdos who might be thinking that this is some kind of me flirting with them, they don't come at all.
No.
Because those guys don't like strong women.
Yeah.
They're threatened by them. So it was a wonderful way of getting a natural attraction.
Oh, I bet.
And like to just make it work without me having to work so hard on selecting the people I want to work with or pushing away those who are really weird and make me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I guess the message is, I don't know, own who you are and just let it be.
Yeah. It also, to me, it means like to take risks, right? If you're going to sex up your brand, that means that you're going to do things differently than other people, right? Like owning who you are. And I mean, that's what it means to me. And so I would be like, oh, I love it. It would be in alignment with my beliefs, like you said, a strong woman. And I think it's awesome. So when someone comes to you, what kind of branding or marketing are they looking for?
So I'm not sure always what they're looking for, but when they come to me, usually what attracts them to me is probably my style, like my confidence,
Sure,
my energy, mostly because they probably see me on stage. But what they hope for is this way of not being vanilla anymore, of not being just like everything else. Because what happens when we get a lot of advice, again, as a small business, you get a lot of the same advice, right? Like build your funnel, build your website, build your email marketing, use this template. And we all start looking and feeling the same.
yeah.
And obviously it's costing you.
Yeah.
Right? People don't notice you and they don't come to you because you're special. You're just part of the noise.
Right.
But also a lot of people feel like it's kind of killing their spirit, right? Because they kind of try to fit in to something that sometimes doesn't feel aligned with who they are.
Right.
So they usually come to me with this hope that I can help them shake things up. And that's exactly what I do. And it all starts from me actually learning who they are and who they really want to be.
Yeah. That's an important piece. And I love having these conversations around branding, especially in today's world. I mean, there's so much noise coming at us all the time. And so in order to stand out, it's really like you have to be maybe a little bit different and really be, and I just had this conversation with a woman in New Zealand, being authentic, and I think people throw that word around a lot, but, authenticity is very important when you are an entrepreneur, a businesswoman, businessman, whatever, when you are in your own space, owning what you're doing. And so do you allow your clients, do they have a hard time being authentic?
Yes, it's such a good question. And nobody ever asked me this, and it's such a good question because you're right. We're using that word all the time. And like all the words that we overuse, we kind of forget what they're about. It's so hard for people to remember what being authentic feels like because we're busy all the time pretending to be something that we're not.
Yeah.
And this is such a habit that got so much worse because of social media, because we're so busy showing some kind of an awkward perspective of what is going on with us or what we're doing or how much fun we're having. And because of that, we kind of forget what is us, what is reality, what things normally supposed to feel like. So a lot of the time when I work with people and I try to get, their best authentic self out, we have to work through these like limiting beliefs and through baggage and through fears and through things where they just forget what they want. And it's almost like therapy. And I have to start that before I do anything with their branding because I don't want to create a brand that is a fake mask to someone who's behind it is not comfortable, not happy, not free.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want your brand to be exactly who you are without the mask. Because again, you'll attract the best kind of people like that.
Yeah. So I mean, you're almost like coaching your clients when they decide to work with you.
Yeah.
So there has to be a lot of growth that happens with them. Do you have like a story of a client in particular that you could share with us that people could maybe relate to, and what that looks like for them in that process of finding their true self within their brand?
I mean, I want to choose one. It's so hard because they all have such different journeys. And sometimes they're short, sort of like makeover moments, and sometimes they're very long, and it's takes years. But you can see how the growth is happening. But one that I guess I'm thinking about because I just talked to her today. But one was a speaker I met in one of my programs, and she was very anxious about putting herself out there the way she really wanted it to be. And she felt like it needed to be perfect. And, she really wasn't sure. Like, she kept asking me questions of, what do people expect? And how is it perfect? Or what have you done before that worked really well? And I kind of dropped everything we were working on when she starts asking these questions. And I told her, stop putting so much pressure on yourself. First of all, as a brands evolve just like we evolve as people. So making the wrong decision is impossible. The only wrong decision you can make is completely not listening to your intuition and who you are.
Oh, yeah.
So you can start with something that feels somewhat right, and it will grow and grow and evolve and become more of who you are, just like you're doing every day, all the time. And I said to her, nothing in your life is a one changing moment that defines who you are and defines everything that's going to be for you. This is a moment, and there's going to be another moment, and there's going to be another moment. And if you're going to make every decision like, if this doesn't work out, it will all collapse. Every time you have to make the smallest decision, it will be painful, difficult, and you won't listen to your intuition because you're going to be listening to your fears of failure.
Yeah. Oh, that's huge.
And when she sort of realized that, she bloomed in a way I've never seen before. It's almost like I broke her biggest barrier, and she's doing so well now. Like in the last, 3 or 4 months since we since that moment happened, her business doubled in size, and it keeps growing. And I'm doing so much work with her now because it's so much fun.
Yeah.
She's able to give so much to others because she's not stuck in her own, boundaries and her own limitations. And when you're not stuck, when you're free, you're so much more generous with your advice and kindness and support, because that energy now you can give instead of having to deal with your own internal fighting.
Oh, yeah.
So that was one of my favorites, I think.
That's beautiful. It gave me goosebumps. But it's also like there's no such thing as perfection, and I think when people overly try to be perfect, if it's an audience, they can feel that, they can sense that, and that's a turnoff. Like, I know, like, yes. I don't know how to be anything other than myself, and I'm not going to apologize for it. I am who I am. Either you like me or you don't. That's it. I used to think that I had to be perfect, and I just don't. I've gotten so far away from that, because when I screw up, that shows my humanity, right?
Yes, and perfect is so boring.
Yeah,
it's boring.
And I think as you work with people and they refine their skills, they just get better and better and better. And I think that, I got goosebumps like when you were talking about that. That's awesome.
Honestly, I've said to someone before where they're like, it has to be exactly right. It has to be perfect. And I'm just like, oh, you want to be perfect? So I can tell you this. If you are spending so much time to make it exactly right, you're not making it perfect. You're making it boring. Oh, yeah. So if you want it to be perfect, perfection is also making mistakes, and it's also making it a little bit wrong and a little bit you. That's perfect.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, I love it. So who are you? What's your ideal client? Well, who do they look like, or who are they?
It's a good question, but mostly the people that I just love working with are people that, I like working with businesses that are impact driven. Yeah, that's for sure. So, but for real, like, I want to work with people who want to make a difference and help others and make changes. That is exciting for me, and I love it. And beyond that, I just want to work with somebody who's got this ability to like accept and grow and are ready to release whatever is holding them back, because that's where the most beautiful transformation happens. And we can create not only like a very lovely brand identity, but also build like a personal brand that comes from this, authenticity and message and impact that honestly, I never want to let go. I mean, sometimes I don't work with someone for a long time and I still care so much. And I'm just like, how is it going? Tell me everything.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And so where can people go if they're interested in hiring, if they resonated with your style and Sex Up Your Brand, where can they go to connect with you and learn a little bit more?
So you can always go to my website, sexupyourbrand.com, probably the easiest way to learn a bit, and also fill out the contact page if you wish. But if you want to make it a little less formal, you can always message me on LinkedIn. The only thing I would say about LinkedIn is please include a message that you heard me on this podcast and you want to learn more, because I think we all have experienced the constant selling that's happening on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And I'm tired. I'm so tired of it. So just, give me a little bit about yourself and let me know that you heard me here, and I would love to talk to you. I'm actually pretty easy to reach that way. And besides that, I'm on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all these places that people feel like I should be on. Yeah. And I sometimes put videos if you want to watch some videos.
I did. I was watching your TikTok. There were some good ones there. Can you tell us a little bit about 360 Startup Partners? What is that and what do you guys do?
Sure. So 360 Startup Partners was created because I met with someone who was a fractional CFO, and he told me the obstacles that he sees a lot of startups going through, which were mostly financial as they're fundraising. And then we discovered that the biggest obstacles are actually not just the financial side, but the marketing and pitching and creating this like identity for themselves so they can convince investors that they're more of an opportunity rather than a risk.
Yeah. So
we decided to partner up and create this almost like, well, basically a collection of partners that can support early stage startups through their fundraising journey, no matter what it is that they need, so that, they can be more successful in their journey.
That's awesome.
So now, I mean, we have a lot of clients with like pretty fun stories and stuff. But again, we usually work with impact-driven startups, and it's very exciting. And one of the people that we just kind of carried through around was able to raise more than double than what they were asking for. And it was so satisfying.
Oh, I bet.
So that's basically how this works. And if you want to know more about it, obviously you can go to 360 Startup Partners.
Excellent. You guys will put all those links in the show notes. So if you are aligned with Sharon's message and what she does with Sex Up Your Brand and just interested in learning a little bit more, go follow her on social and go reach out. I'm sure she would love to start a conversation with you. And if you're in need of some fundraising, go check out 360 Startup Partners and see where that might take you. Sharon, this is the part of the show where I like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with us today?
Well, I'd say this. This is maybe a theme that I carry through a lot, but my last words of wisdom are really ask yourself what you really want from life. And don't think about the things that you feel like you should want, but what do you really want that will make you happy? And even if the answer is all I want is to sit under a tree and just like do nothing, that's okay. But if you really listen to what you really want, you can be a happier person, and everybody around you will be a happier person, and we'll be able to give each other a lot more kindness and a lot more understanding and a lot more support and a lot more everything. So ask yourself what you really want and try to see how you can get it.
Woo! Yes, I love that. Great advice. Thank you so much, Sharon, for being such a dynamic guest and bringing Sex Up Your Brand to Label Free Podcast. Really enjoyed your story, and we look forward to having you back.
Thank you. I would love it.
You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.